What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the CRWN Cinema Podcast. In this episode, we literally just watched Horizon. Very long, very cool scenery, and I'm not sure what this movie is about.
Yeah. A lot of storylines, a lot of characters in this one. There's just a lot going on, which is you're capable of doing in a 3-hour movie, but like this was a lot.
It's a lot, and it jumped a lot through time to different people, and it's almost hard to follow. I'm like,
Yeah,
what's happening really?
You know what sucks is like you get introduced to one group, and you kind of understand what their objective is, but then you don't see them for like another hour,
and they've already moved on.
And then you know the movie gets back to them, and it's like, wait, what were they doing? Like I forgot. What was the whole point of their group? Like, what are they trying to accomplish in this movie?
I also didn't understand what each group was doing in correlation to the main story. Like, how did they...
What is the main story?
Exactly. Well, it's about the Civil War. Come to find out. Can you pull that up? If you go to just the Horizon movie, we can read what it is about.
We looked up the summary of this movie after we watched it, and it was a little shocking.
So this says, chronicles a multifaceted 15-year span of pre- and post-Civil War expansion and settlement of the American West. So, you obviously know it's in the Civil War because you see the Union soldiers dressed up, but they don't talk about the Civil War at all. And the fact that this nor the Google one shows anything about the Indians is kind of crazy because the whole movie is really about the Indians.
It's about the Apaches.
Not about them, but they're in it all the time.
No, I mean, it's not like about them, but like how involved they are in kind of the United States, like trying to conquer like the Western frontier, like that. And that's the hard thing to do. And I thought the whole point of the movie was kind of just showing like
how we fought
the settlers and how they like essentially beat the Apaches.
Yeah.
Or, just what that looked like or anything. So for the summary to not mention that at all, I'm like mind blown because I think we all agreed, like we heard the one part where one character in the movie just talks about the divide of the nation like one time. It's mentioned once. And that's it. The rest of the movie, you're just waiting for the Apaches to attack.
Yeah.
You're not worried about the Union versus the Confederacy, like at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what do you rate it?
Dude, I'll give it a 6.
6?
I'll give it a 6.
Okay. I don't really understand the full story. Honestly, it wasn't. I don't know what it's about. But all the little scenes they had, every scene was interesting to me. Like I was entertained throughout the scenes because they had good conflict, and it was kind of like they put them in good situations that kept you interested. But then you're not really sure about like what's the point of that. Like what's the scope of this little interaction they have with these Indians? Right. What is this happening? So I felt like every little, it's almost like it was a compilation of a bunch of short films about the West with all the same characters. Kind of what it felt like. So
let me say this. All right. So I'm going to give this a 6 pending the second movie. If the second movie delivers, then this movie's a 7.
Okay.
Because right now I'm looking at it, kind of what we said at the end of it. There's like Dune setting up Dune Part 2.
Yeah, this could be a Dune Part 2
situation. It's just setting up the world. But even in Dune, like, I knew what the fuck was up.
And it was cool.
Yeah.
This is cool too, but
cool
like
too. Yeah. It's just it's really hard to pull off like that many characters, that many groups of characters, that many stories that you're trying to like just pull together in a 3-hour movie, which is long in movie terms. But I'm like, dude, like this is what series are made for.
Right.
When you have
all
this amount of characters and everything going on, like it's like some Yellowstone, Game of Thrones type storytelling, and you're trying to do it in 2 movies.
It's like a worse version of 1883.
Yeah.
Did you watch that show? Mm-mm. Really, you should watch it. It's actually really good.
But even in 1883, I mean, did you really have this many groups?
No, but the story of the settlement, them going and traveling and fighting the Indians, like that was pretty much the story, and that was way better than what this was. So I was going to give it a 6 too.
Okay.
Because I think it's obviously it's easy to make this movie look beautiful because the scenery is just so awesome.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, you got like,
Which is, I mean, there's definitely an appreciation for that.
it's a cool vibe with the horses running through. They got like, you can see the wide landscape. Scott disagrees with me, but I thought it looked pretty throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, but for 3 hours, I'm just like, all right, dude. Like, I get it. Wyoming has some nice parts to it. Like, we're all right.
This is an episode where Scott is pissed.
Pissed. I'm gonna give it a 4.
Ooh.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I felt like I'll tell you some comparisons too, but like I feel like I had no idea what these characters' motives were. Like there's certain characters where I think I know what they're going for, and then in another scene later, they've completely switched up, and I'm like, what did I miss?
Yeah.
Like an example is the guy who wants to hunt Indians at the beginning, and he's like doesn't care what tribe they are as long as he gets them, and then later he's like helping the Indian in the shop when everyone's ganging up on him. You know who I'm talking about?
Yes,
The friendly looking guy.
No, but he's helping the boy kind of there at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Whenever the boy's like kind of struggling to find out, like, holy shit, like we're just doing the same thing that the Indians did to us. Yeah. But I'm right there with you. When he was being nice to him in the shop, I was like, at what point did he change his mind?
Never showed us. And like, have y'all seen Ballad of Buster Scruggs?
Yeah.
So that does what I think they're trying to do perfectly, where it's kind of a bunch of vignettes of different characters going through the different types of things you go through in the Wild West. And this just did not deliver or hit.
No, because it's not coherent. And again, I don't know what the entire like overarching story is. Because the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, it's meant to be a bunch of separate stories. They're not supposed to be linked together because it's just like an anthology film, right? And so this is not that though. This is like, it's an American saga. So maybe just like, they're just trying to show you just what it is, give you the vibe of the Wild West, but it's not that well put together.
Yeah, like Buster Scruggs does a perfect job of giving you the vibe of the Wild West, although they're not all connected like this, which I don't really know if this is either. I mean, I guess they're all going to
that's
Horizon.
What I was gonna say is like with the montage that this movie gives at the end, it does show that like a lot of these characters are about to meet.
Which is just, it's an odd thing to put a montage for the next movie at the end of a movie where you're like, what is happening? What is this? Oh, okay. So this is just what's going to happen next. Like
yeah. But then for like that first minute, I was like, are they just jumping ahead? Like, are they, but you know, clearly they're not doing that.
It's like they watched the movie and like, doesn't really lead on to the next one very well. Let's montage it at the end. We trust really us. Hold out for us, please. We filmed 3 more hours of this movie.
Which I feel like is just, you do not want to do. But then I was telling you, it's still, that montage like kind of overwhelmed me just going into the second movie because I saw a lot of prominent actors in the montage and I'm like, well, there goes a lot more characters that are, you know, you're going to have to give them stories and motives and everything. And it's like, dude, we already had a lot.
And per usual of Cannes Film Festival, right? Cannes. Per usual, this one got a 10-minute standing ovation. So it seems like this tradition of giving movies that aren't that great a giant standing ovation is just odd. And Kevin Costner was like crying. They said after the movie done, he's like was so emotional about it because it was so touching and well made. And
maybe we're idiots, but I like to think that it's just them being like, "What, you didn't understand it? Like, dude, how could you not get it?
Yeah,
I got it. This movie's genius."
I get it's hard to make a movie, especially mostly outside in remote land. But have y'all seen The Revenant?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I love The Revenant.
Yeah. That is kind of, I feel like a vibe they could have gone for, where it's like beautiful landscapes and all that. It just didn't deliver with this one, like cinematography wise.
Yeah, it's all over the place. Mm-hmm. It's all over the place. So many storylines that just don't tie in together that well. So like, I'm trying to figure, like none of them really, each storyline doesn't affect the other one too much.
No.
Also, I don't really know how characters got to the place that they're at. It kind of happens. Like a big one is with Costner and his lady friend who ends up calling him honey a few times. Like, oh, okay, so I guess now they're dating. So like they're in a relationship, and then she just like cheats on him. Then she leaves him, and it's like, what the fuck was that?
But I was confused. I was like, how did she get in that tent? They must have been above that camp, and then they went down there, and we just didn't see any of that.
And then all of a sudden, she's a prostitute, so she gets in with a guy. But I mean, this guy's making it seem kind of the way he's treating her, slapping her around, it's like he's familiar with her in some sense. So I'm like, wait, do they know each other? Did we miss that?
Yeah, they didn't show us that. I think that they had built a relationship
Prior.
I think, or maybe a secret one.
Maybe we just missed it. I don't know.
No, it just wasn't in there.
Yeah. The only thing that I like made sense of, which I think is probably the easiest one to see, is so at the beginning of the movie, it's the Indians attacking like whatever settlers try to get on the horizon. They burn down the tents, they slaughter everybody, and then there's one surviving kid, that he gets away, he watches his dad like get shot in the face or whatever, and he meets up with this group of people, and they give him the chance to we're gonna go hunt down like the Indians that killed your folks, like that kind of thing. So it's like a revenge thing, and that's what he's thinking as a boy. Okay, we're gonna go kill like those specific Indians, like we're gonna go hunt down like the bad ones. Full circle moment, they attack a village with just women and children, which is exactly what they did to him. Mm-hmm. And so that's the only full circle moment I felt like I saw in this movie is when he has that realization, like, oh shit, like we're doing the same exact thing. Like this is just back and forth. We're not going to get anywhere with this.
And it's also fucked up too because there's so many different Indian tribes and some of them aren't violent.
Right.
So like they just see somebody that's an Indian tribe and they go and kill them thinking that they're like an Apache or Comanche or something. But in reality, a lot of them weren't violent.
Yeah.
It was like a few that were warring tribes, but the rest of them were just kind of doing their own thing.
Yeah.
That's why some of them were able to like integrate into society. Like they come trade because they weren't looking to fight or take over. They're like, peaceful.
Yeah.
So the kid sees them getting killed like that. He's like, damn, it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah. Just anything else? I'm just trying to think. That was like the only full circle thing that I saw where I was like, okay, it kind of, this kid is probably going to come out all right in the end.
Yeah. Again, you assume that Kevin Costner's the main character because he wrote it, directed it, starred in it.
Okay, here's one that kind of lost me. Is so you go up to, is Wyoming? Is that like
they were in Wyoming, Kansas,
Montana?
I think it was Montana then, like where it's a lot more snowy and blue, like, and it's like kind of that family that rules over that territory. And the mother leaves with her child, and so but she kills her husband, who's brothers with the whole family that's running everything, and she disappears. Well, then they track her down, and they want the boy. Okay, but then after they lose another brother, they say, we don't even want the boy anymore. So
right.
I'm just like, wait, what? I thought the boy was important, and then all of a sudden he's just not. I'm like, we just cut that off?
Yeah, it ends with so many different loose ends.
I'm doing a terrible way of explaining this, by the way, but that's kind of what you get when you throw a lot of characters.
So did the movie.
Yeah, yeah. That's what happens when you throw this many characters. I don't even know how to explain like who they are.
Yeah, and we don't learn why she shot that guy and ran away.
We don't learn why her family is like kind of all powerful. Like we don't really know what they are running, like how they are into power.
Yeah, there's so many loose ends. You get no closure. There's nothing at the end that like wraps up this story. It leads it on. Like with Dune Part 2, giant story, split up in 2 parts. But still at the end, you get a little bit of closure because Paul ends up finding the Fremen and obviously proves himself. So now you kind of have that closure for this story. This story had no closure. It's just like kind of hoping. It's like a 6-hour movie, essentially. It's like one 6-hour movie that they're hoping to get everybody to watch.
It's just a tough one to do. I mean, that's just a tough thing to pull off.
And it's good marketing because, Kevin Costner quit Yellowstone to make this movie, and he's now not doing it anymore. And so you kind of like think, oh shit, this movie's going to be fucking badass. Kevin Costner put his entire, I think he invested $38 million of his own money into this movie to have it get made. Started it, helped write it, directed it. So you think, okay, this is going to be pretty badass because Yellowstone's awesome. But then again, Kevin Costner's, I don't think he's really the reason why Yellowstone is good. It's because of Taylor Sheridan, the guy that wrote it. Because he's a very talented writer. He wrote Sicario. Taylor Sheridan's wrote a bunch of great movies. There's another good one too that is popular. Hell or High Water. He's done a lot of big movies. So
he knows how to write a story and keep the audience engaged throughout it.
Wind
That's
River.
what you have to do in a movie.
So he's the guy that made the show great, but then Kevin Costner goes and leaves and makes his own show, and it's not as good because, you know, the marketing point is like Kevin Costner's leaving Yellowstone to make something better, but Kevin Costner's not the reason why the Yellowstone and this like Western franchise is Western genre is rebooting. It's not because of him. He started it. It was cool, but like he didn't make the show awesome.
Yeah. There's just a lot of emptiness in this one. That's why I'm being merciful because you better believe I see that second movie now that I've invested 3 hours into this.
Got to see if it pays off.
Now I got to finish it. That's why I'm saying my score is 6 pending 7, depending on how the second one goes.
The only scenes I really liked were ones with Kevin Costner and the ones with the powerful family, like the two brothers.
I like the brother.
Yeah. That was probably my favorite scene where the brothers fighting each other.
Yeah, he's a dominant.
The tall, badass brother.
Yeah. I'm going nowhere. He's like, you are though.
Kicks the fuck. Spartan kicks him.
Yeah. Literally. I think it was shot just how that Spartan kick is done too.
Yeah. Because like it's all those, there's like a few of those scenes throughout it that are entertaining to watch and you like the conflict, even though you're not really sure what's happening. I still felt like I was invested in like what this scene was happening. Like I was like, let's see what happens. And so they did a good job of doing that, but they didn't do a good job of linking them all together, of tying them all together. Because that scene was cool. For me, all the scenes that were enjoyable were like when there's an Indian standoff or like, because it's scary as fuck when you're on the trail and you see the Indians scouting you. You're like, oh, fuck, dude.
But to my earlier point, Buster Scruggs, they do a way better job of making you scared of like seeing just a lone Indian on the top of a ridge.
I feel like they did a good job here just because the first scene when they burn down that village, you're like, okay, Indians can fuck an entire village. Like, it's kind of scary. So now when you see them, plus just knowing about, you know, American history and how the Indian interactions went and how violent they could be, you kind of just have that in the back of your mind when you see them. I
kind of like when with Luke Wilson's crew, when they see the lone Indian, obviously you see everybody like getting nervous, unsettled, but I did enjoy the aspect of the British couple like being more just like, whoa, like how incredible.
Yeah.
They just do not understand. And I kind of just like that like little dumb, innocent sense where like everybody else is like, this is very, very bad.
Yeah. Having them is a good contrast to show just how hard it is out there because they're so naive to everything.
Yeah.
They don't know about keeping the water safe. They don't understand how hard the travel could get.
I think she is actually like, she's ill-mannered. He just is, like you said, naive. Like, I like him. Because as soon as Luke Wilson was like, you see people working, like you need to help, he was like, oh, okay. Yeah, like, let me know what I got to do.
Yeah, how could you get upset at somebody telling you, hey, we're stopped here. This is like a group thing. I need some help.
But here's another thing.
They don't need my fucking help.
There's another thing that I kind of have a problem with, is why is there no explanation as to how these people ended up in a camp like this?
I don't think you really need it because I think so many people have sailed over to the United States for a new, or I guess not the United States, but sailed over to North America to then like settle and create a new life. So I guess I feel like you can get away with not really explaining their backstory too much because you just know it's a diverse group of people from all over Europe traveling here.
I guess. But it was like, they've been traveling for a long time. Or I guess maybe you don't even know that. But like, I don't know. Just like this guy really, whenever he asked if he could be in the group, Luke Wilson didn't say like, all right, well, like you'll have to earn your keep. Like when you see us working, like we all got to work together. Like he didn't know that. Like they clearly, from the first scene with them, like they didn't even know like manners of like if you see people with their own water, like you don't ask them for their water.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was like that wasn't, like they don't understand that yet. But who knows? Maybe they've just been on the road for like a day.
Maybe they just started on it because she was really clean. She was the one that was bathing with the drinking water and probably was doing that for a lot of the journey that she was on. But they were both like so clean.
Yeah.
Everybody was so dirty, worn out because they probably been on the trail, for months.
I guess maybe like you pick them up from a town or something. I don't know. I would have appreciated a little bit more explanation as to like, because if you're going into Apache territory, which they know that they are, like you're not going to want to bring people that could get you killed, like that put you in danger. You know what I mean? Like she's out bathing, you know, in the middle of the night, who knows? Like maybe she starts a fire when she's not supposed to. Like they don't know how this works. Like why would you pick them up? It's very clear just how they dress, how they talk, like how well-mannered they are. Like they do not understand. Like why would you want to let somebody join you?
Well, I think
something
because
so
I think
dangerous.
the biggest thing out there is just people. Like you need more people. Because if it's just a feeble group of like 10 people that are really good, if 25 Indians roll up, you're screwed. Like no shot at winning. So if you have more
That's
people,
true,
you look
yeah.
more formidable.
Yeah.
I guess. So you just kind of take whoever.
No, I agree with that. I'm just like, I don't know. Just I'm just a little confused. Like how I feel like that would have been a better way to approach that, at least with them. Because like here's the other thing. We really don't know what Luke Wilson's, like we don't know what he's trying to do. I guess he's trying to just settle out.
I think he's just the leader of the, what's it called? The group of people. What do they call those?
Wagon train.
No, but I don't know.
Scott, good try. I mean, I have no idea. I mean, I assume they're out just wanting to go settle land and,
Nah, it's called a...
A wagon train is a convoy or train of covered horse-drawn wagons
Wow. Okay.
used by pioneers or settlers in North America.
Damn, I thought you pulled that out of your ass.
I like westerns, man.
There we go. Wagon train.
My bad, Scott.
Sorry, Scott.
How about the crazy little brother? First off, do they kill the mother of that child that they are after, but then they abandon? Because if they do, they don't show it.
We don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we don't know.
But why would we not know? Because they end up getting back to their home, and she's not there. Like whenever the moms like bring his body in,
I guess
like,
they
the
did
big brother-
kill her?
You never saw her, and I feel like that would have been a scene to show like she's alive. There's no mention of her. There's nothing.
There's also no way to tell how much time has passed between any of these.
Yeah, when you just told me it's a span of 15 years, I'm like, is that for both movies, or like did we already just watch like 7 years go by?
I think we watched a few years go by. A significant amount of time passed, I think, throughout this movie.
Apparently there's going to be 4 of these movies.
All 3 hours long, dude. No, wait. Okay, do we know how long Horizon Chapter 2 is, the runtime? Because if it's just 3 hours, that's crazy. It's an epic still, so it's not a good sign.
Oh, it's gonna be long.
Like, I liked it when it started out. 162 minutes. That's about 3 hours, right?
I don't know.
60,
2.5.
62. Yeah,
Right.
2.5.
Yeah.
Why not make this one the 240? Lure us in with something that's fun and like
Agreed. Yeah.
hook us in. I mean, the cast is gigantic. I mean, what's the budget on this movie?
The only thing I'm trying to compare it to is Lonesome Dove, which I'm a huge Lonesome Dove fan. But there was just no question about like what every character was wanting, like what they were after. I feel like I'm kind of with Scott on that. Like I kept asking myself, like, what are they really trying to accomplish here?
Yeah, with the girl that was, I guess, trying to seduce Kevin Costner, is she just a prostitute trying to get money from him, or what? Like, I have no idea what her actual motive was there.
Right. I don't know if she's a prostitute.
Gold digger.
I think she tries to get guys to stay with her instead of at the town so that she can make money off of them, like cook essentially keep him like a hotel guest, like a bed and breakfast.
Oh, okay.
I don't think she wanted to leave that mining town though. The only reason she had to is because Kevin Costner's like, no,
Yeah.
like now you are involved because I just killed him and he was coming to kill you.
Yeah,
Like, you
dude.
can't stay here. So she's like, oh shit, kind of had a good thing going here.
Yeah, there's like barely any motive this entire time.
Yeah, so I guess at this point it's just survival. She's just hoping that she meets a guy that marries her. But she's also stuck with this kid and she doesn't even know, like, does she understand that kid is hers now?
Yeah, I think she does. She has to. I mean, she's taking care of it. There's no sign of her friend. It's not even her. So it's the lady that stole it. It's her son, correct?
Mhm.
So now she's just like raising her friend's son.
And it wasn't even her friend. That was like the lady she paid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I remember at one point she's like in an argument with her like boyfriend or whatever that they go to sell the land to the brothers. She's like, well, she brings in more money than you. So like that's just her landlord. It's just a landlord type relationship, but she also babysits.
Yeah, so I guess I think that's why they wanted to kick her out, because she said, don't be talking to any of these guys until I sign them all in. Because she knows she's going to take business away from them.
Makes sense.
I guess that's her job, is just to seduce the men and have them come.
She gets the stragglers.
Yeah. She found Kevin Costner for some reason, wanted to only settled on him.
Yeah, Kevin Costner, they keep alluding to like how badass he is, and I guess he does kill one of the, he kills the psycho little brother, beats him in a draw. But aside from that, we don't really know much about him yet.
No, it's kind of funny because it's almost like, because Kevin Costner wrote it, so it's kind of like self-serving to him, of having him be like the badass guy. He's like, because he's a badass character on Yellowstone, so I think he's hoping you can just like take him for that. Like you just expect him to be a badass guy out here in the Wild West, but you don't really see him doing much.
He wrote this in 1988, or tried to get it made in 1988.
Oh, brother.
Yeah, I remember seeing that he tried to get it made. Nobody wanted it, clear reasons, and then he put up $38 million of his own dollars. Dang, this is only a $50 million movie. That's kind of crazy. That seems like this is like a $100 million movie with I don't know how much is on it.
It's just I feel like it wasn't made very well. It wasn't very polished. Like, did you notice when there was subtitles for the Native Americans that it would turn the screen blue?
No.
Every time there's a subtitle, the color temperature changed of the movie. I'm like, who did the subtitles?
I saw the color temperature would shift all the time, but I figured maybe just because they were on film and it's like damaged film or something like that. Like maybe they just
a little bit of that, but it was definitely some kind of fuck up with the subtitles.
Also, the subtitles are really hard to read with the way they spaced them out, and they went by so quickly.
Really?
Because I was trying to read like what the Native Americans are saying, because they're using like some words that I don't really know, because it's like some of their sayings and stuff. So I'm like trying to like read that word, and then the subtitle goes away. I'm like, fuck. Like the guy would still be talking his sentence, and they would just cut the subtitle away. Like, bro, help me out here. Keep him on for a good minute.
Slow reader.
Not really. I felt like it just went by actually quick.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't have that problem.
Yeah, but so Kevin Costner wants himself to be a badass in this movie.
I really just I don't like this. I don't like seeing that he tried to get it made in 1988, and now, because they're gonna take on something that like had potential. They don't just turn down bad movies.
Right.
But now that Kevin Costner is like obviously well established in Hollywood, he has a lot of money, and they still didn't want to make this movie, which is why he had to put $30 million into it. That just doesn't sound good to me.
No, not at all. And it really only has a lot of, I guess, like awareness in the media and like around people because of the drama with him quitting Yellowstone to do this movie.
Yeah.
Like if it was after Yellowstone, not anything, I don't think it'd be that popular of a movie. Like the marketing play was just the fact that he quit Yellowstone to make this movie. So even then, it's not about the movie hopefully being badass.
I guess they didn't market like this only movie one. I guess they are marketing like both of them. Like the scene where Kevin Costner like kicks the dude like in the horse ring or whatever.
Yeah.
Didn't even happen in the first movie.
Yeah, what? What?
Yeah.
Just literally a montage at the end.
Yeah, and then they throw it in. Don't worry, guys, it's coming.
We didn't lie to you. We promise. Yeah. Look at this little clip.
Not knowing what that montage was, I was just thinking that it's like...
I thought it was like speed, like kind of speeding ahead a little bit.
I was like, why is every character getting a montage right now? And like, I don't care about any of these characters, and it seems to be this emotional thing, and I'm like, all right.
And they don't. It's not like the movie ends and it kind of fades to black and then it comes back to show this little montage of the next movie. It just starts. Mm-hmm. Like oh shit, we're in a montage, and then you see like time pass and you see characters in places you didn't know before. You're like, what the fuck?
Spoilers, I'll say.
Yeah, a lot of spoilers.
But
a lot of people crying.
I was also a little confused at the end, like when they are raiding the Indian village. The kid, he's figuring out like, oh fuck, this is bad. I didn't like the choice of music there. thought it.
What was it? What was the music?
It just reminded me of like The Dark Knight Rises at the end, where it's like, oh, everything's like okay, you know, Batman saved the city. It's like no, like this boy just had his fucking universe shattered in front of him because he realizes he's the bad guy now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like the kind of the mood that it's setting is like, I don't know, as if he's like a hero, but like he's displaying completely different emotions than what I think the music. That's just how I listen. That's how I heard it.
It's like they slapped on a powerful piece just because it's the end of the movie.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, this is a pretty gruesome, like dark scene. Like you got grown men killing women and children on the screen right now, and you're playing music as if like
Scalping them.
yeah, like they're scalping them. They're rubbing the blood on the kid's face, and he's like disgusted. But the music is just so like powerful. I'm like, what is happening? This is bad. This is not the music to be playing right now.
Yeah.
Another thing I didn't like about that scene is that it just goes from, you know, like the tension is rising because they're about to get caught. And then it just kind of cuts to everyone's on horses now. I'm like, okay.
When
Yeah.
did they get on their
It's
horses?
just kind of the editing or they didn't get enough coverage.
That's true because, you know, you gotta go tie the horses up. Like,
It was just sloppy, I feel like.
yeah.
And then I don't understand too why whenever Kevin Costner's walking up to the girl's house to sleep with that girl, why did that guy pick him out of the crowd to go question him?
I was gonna bring that up too. How did he know?
That's what I'm saying. Like what about Kevin Costner's character made him think that he knows something, he could help him out? He's just literally walking through the town. There's a million other random people in that town
Agreed.
too. He's a random person in that town.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was because he's walking up to that house.
Yeah, but
how did
he
that guy
starts
know?
at the very bottom of the hill.
True.
So it's like, I mean, there's plenty of other places you can go to. And all they had to do was show that little brother, like he could go stop by the clerk, you know, because typically when people get into a town, the clerk is probably going to be one of the first people they talk to, like to send a letter to somebody or, you know, whatever. All he has to do is be like, hey, do you hear about anything like going on up in that house at the top? And then the clerk like kind of points him out, and it's like you could just do something that simple, and then that would make sense as to why the little brother would start antagonizing Kevin Costner.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even get that. I remember thinking I was going to bring that up. I was like, why did you just start picking on Kevin Costner? Why is this happening?
Got lucky and just like ended up finding the person that he needed to talk
He was
to.
like, oh wait, you're going to this house too? Like, how lucky am I?
Yeah, we also don't know how that guy knows that it's this house.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
It's not explained at all.
Again, just has to.
How much of this movie was shot and not included? Like, how long could this movie have been?
Damn.
Because it seems like there's a lot of missing pieces throughout it. So it's like, did they film a lot of it and they just cut it out because it was 3 hours long?
I don't think so because there's scenes that I'm like, we do not need this.
Yeah.
An example is the mother and daughter that we were introduced at the beginning. She goes up and thanks the lieutenant. And it's just a scene of her saying, oh, we're so grateful. I'm like, is this necessary for us to see this interaction?
Just planting the
Just
seed of the
thanking
romance.
Somebody? Yeah, maybe. I feel like you could do that way more subtle than just let's stand in front of each other and thank each other. I
Yeah.
don't need to see that.
Yeah, so it's like the main conflict is the Indians and them traveling around and having to defend themselves against the Indians, and then it's also the civil wars going on apparently, and then the guys get sent off to go fight. But that's just like
actually, you'd be surprised. That's actually a main part of the movie.
right. Apparently,
I didn't even catch that was for the Civil War. I thought they were gonna go fight Indians.
yeah. No, they're
That's
going
what-
to civil. There's a civil war.
Yeah.
So it's like
Well, doesn't it mention that this is like pre-current and post-Civil War?
yeah.
I think this has to be before then. But
I wonder if they're just trying to make the movie to where the main character is just like the American West. Like that's what's the constant, and it's just showing you what it does to people and how it can hurt
Yes.
people and how people have opportunity here and just all that kind of shit. But still, if you're gonna make a movie, we got to follow some characters. We got to feel it because we don't. It's hard to feel compelled about just the idea of the Wild West without actually living it through a character.
yeah.
It's kind of similar to Bike Riders, just like showing you what's happening,
Yeah.
where it's just like a portrait of everything.
A good example of this is Babylon, where it's you're following 4 people in the industry, different jobs, but you know what's going on. And
We
you
love
care.
Babylon.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of that.
Yeah.
But how many groups of people are we following in this movie? I think it's got to be more than
6?
4. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe 6.
Well, you got okay. So let's start. You got
Costner?
You've got the mother and wife who've lost their family. You've
Co-
got the little boy that's riding with the Indians.
Yeah.
You've got the people that have settled with the army. You've got the powerful family, which you really don't see them that much. Did we already mention Kevin Costner?
I don't
No.
think you counted Costner.
Kevin Costner. That's 5.
I mean, and the woman, I guess she's part of the family and Costner, but
Yeah, but we don't. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the-
Now we don't
No,
even know
she-
what's going to happen with them.
she's a separate one, I would say.
Yeah. And then
So that's,
Did you mention the
that's
girl-
5, potentially 6.
did you mention the lady that first ran away in the very beginning?
That's what I was just talking about.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the girl that has the kid now.
Yeah.
Because
That's
she
what
ran
he's
away.
that's what he's talking about.
No, he was talking about the other lady.
Yeah.
But so those are 2.
The mom.
The
actual
mom.
mom.
The mom, the one that we don't know if is dead or not. Yeah. So, and
Maybe a couple more sprinkled in there.
The Indians. We
The
go-
Indians.
yeah, we have the family. Yeah.
Oh,
We
yeah.
have the wife that tells her husband like, "I'm not following him. I'm following you."
Mhm.
That's got to
Which
be.
that adds nothing to the
Oh
movie.
my God.
Yeah, we don't even see them again. And she was.
The wagon train.
The wagon
We
train.
have Luke Wilson. So that is 8 potential storylines right there that we have. And I still think we're missing a couple.
And we're just getting glimpses into those worlds
Yeah,
and
and
seeing
that's
some
just-
cool scenes. Again, I give it credit because I did like the scenes, but not overall.
I just don't think that's the way to go about making a movie. That's how you go about making a show.
Yeah.
Yeah, this could probably be a really cool show.
Yeah, but it's not a movie. I think if you're going to make a movie of this caliber, like I said, Lonesome Dove, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I know there's not this many storylines. I think there's kind of a few.
I've never seen it.
It's a great movie, and it's broken down kind of like this. I can't remember if it's 2 or 3, but it's perfect. You are following along with everybody. You're invested in a lot of stories. That's the other thing with this movie is when you're doing something like this, you show a storyline for a while, then you move to the next group and you show their story for a while, then you move to the next, and then you get back to them, but not enough time has passed to where you've forgotten like what's happened. And if you have, you got to be able to like kind of, show them, like put it in a conversation or like talk about like where they just came from. Like you can easily like pick up where you left off.
It would help if they were all going after the same goal.
Right.
Then you can maybe cut more so, like not do what you were saying where you keep it there and then you move on and you move on and stay on this storyline for the storyline B for a little bit. If they're all moving towards the same goal, then you can like start cutting in faster. I think on Rotten Tomatoes it has horrible ratings, but also Rotten Tomatoes is bought and sold.
Yeah. That's why I said critical.
Not bought and
acclaim instead
sold.
of Rotten Tomatoes.
What is it? Not bought and sold.
Oh, bribes and
Yeah, they
whatnot.
take bribes and shit to write reviews. Rotten Tomatoes is fake now.
Yeah.
Because I mean, every movie that's critically acclaimed sucks. Like you see the audience score, it's like trash, 26%, but the critics like 90%. They got bought and paid for. Is that the term?
68%.
Well, damn. 39% too. God. But a 10-minute standing ovation at Canes.
Canes. We could just say Canes.
We're
We're
Americans.
American.
It's a tough way to go about making a movie that I guess throughout the course of next like 2 or so part 2 is coming out later this year
In August?
or
August.
September. It's August. And then I assume they're going to do the same thing with part 3 and 4. They'll release part 3 and they'll probably release part 4 like the following like somewhere later on in the year. We don't know when. So who knows? Maybe by the 4th movie we're like, wow.
If they get greenlit for 2 more.
Yeah, how genius.
That's the thing. Can we see what I guess it's only Saturday because it came out yesterday, so
Yeah.
we can't see how it's doing in the box office. But I feel like it has to have like a good weekend, only because all the dads are coming out to the theater. I mean, last night when we went to Bike Riders last night and we saw so many older gentlemen at the movie theater. to see
Yeah, but
either Bike Riders or probably Horizon.
Yeah, but I know a lot of guys like my dad that are just like, fuck that. I'm not going to a movie theater for 3 hours. I'll wait till I can watch it in my home.
Yeah,
It was $100 million budget.
Yeah, massive $100 million budget.
Hmm.
Profitability is uncertain.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense. Got to get through the weekend, I suppose.
Yeah, that's crazy. I do hope that the second movie brings it in together and makes it
Just a little bit more.
Because I would like, if I'm going to go sit through this again, I want to at least enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, please.
I'll tell you what, that's how I feel about every movie I watch.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I always have that hope of
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I hope I kind of like this.
Dude, there's been so many movies in the theater that just haven't been good. Like, we have not given a good rating for a movie in theater in a long time. Or it's very sparing if we do give one.
Well, at least that we all agree on. Because I liked Furiosa. You guys didn't like Furiosa. I liked it.
Right, but it wasn't like, damn, that was a good movie.
No, it didn't blow me away. It's been a while since we've like actually
Like Dune
gone
Part
to a
2.
movie. Okay,
Like, I'm talking about going to the movie theater and being like, dude, that was a fucking
Yeah,
great movie.
that's why you got to appreciate the ones that you do get. Because Dune Part 2, I think, was the last one where we all just walked out. We were like, fuck yes. Yes. Worth it. Because we stayed up late for that. You know, we got a really late showing. We had to go through a crying baby in that movie. We had to suffer at first. And then
But
like
it
at
paid
the
off.
end, yeah, and then at the end, we're like, yes,
Yeah.
we did it. And since then, we've just been trying to reach that high again.
Hollywood is just fucking flopping after flop after
It's
flop.
tough though. I mean, it's incredibly hard to make a movie. That's why like you have to appreciate the ones that like are true classics because there's so many movies being made, and even less being put in theaters. And even those like, I mean, you get a Bike Riders, and it's just you just know that marketing it is going to go well. Doesn't really matter how good it does like in theaters, I guess. Like you know that initial audience is going to be like, all right, we know a lot of people that ride motorcycles will come watch this in a movie theater.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's what they're hoping for at least.
And that's what they're doing with this movie now that I've seen it. It's like, well, we know Kevin Costner has a huge following, especially when it comes to Westerns. It's been a while since we've seen a Western movie of this caliber, I think, or at least marketed that way. And that's why, like, you put this in a theater and then you say, like, oh, it's a two-parter. So it's like, oh, shit. How cool. Like, we're kind of involved in something.
I wonder
And
what
that's what
Taylor
they're going
Sheridan's
for.
thinking in his head. If he watched it, he's like, this motherfucker quit my show for this bullshit.
It was just like, what an idiot.
Yeah, real shit. Probably would make way more money keeping on doing Yellowstone. But maybe it's not about the money for Kevin. He just put $38 million into this thing, so
I think he's got
he's
a
obviously
lot of
rolling
money.
in the cash.
I need to go watch Field of Dreams. That's
You
always a classic.
You need to put a better thought in your head about Kevin Costner.
Yeah. Or no, he's in another movie that I love, but he plays like the reckless cowboy in that movie. It's kind of an older one. I think it was made probably like in the 80s or something. And for some reason, I cannot think the name of it. It's such a good Western.
Can you look up Kevin Costner movies? Right now, Scott is looking up The Descendants, Rise of Red, or whatever.
Just looking at movies in
Sometimes we-
2024.
Sometimes we let him run free.
Um,
I'm like,
Wyatt Earp.
no, I didn't like Wyatt Earp.
My dad thinks that one's better than
Oh,
Tombstone.
Silverado.
Silverado.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen many westerns.
They don't make them like they used to. That's why a lot of people were excited about this.
I always like them though when I watch them.
Well, not always.
Why?
We just gave this a 6.
Right, I'm saying older westerns.
Oh, older Westerns, yeah. Yeah, man.
All right, well, that's all I got on the 3-hour fucking movie we just watched.
Damn. We're slacking, man. We need the movies to do better.
Are we slacking? How'd you get in? Like, all right, time's up. All right, final thoughts, Gray.
You just can't have that many storylines in a movie, man.
You can't.
You just can't do it. 4 max.
Max.
For a movie of that caliber. You just can't do it. As of now. Like I said, my score is a 6 pending 7 depending on how the second movie comes. It's a 6 pending a 10 if the whole saga ends up being great. but still,
They got some. They got
a lot of work to do.
They got to pull off a magic trick.
Yeah.
They're gonna make this thing worth it.
So just it's way too much. Way too much. So
Scott, final thoughts?
Nothing.
burn them at the stake.
Scalp them.
Scalp.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. If you've seen Horizon, comment below your thoughts. If you agree with us, if you disagree with us,
Please.
we're curious if you guys liked it. Maybe we're idiots.
Yeah, I want to. Yeah, I really want to emphasize. Like, please let us know how stupid we might have sounded, because maybe we just missed some stuff, and maybe y'all should be the ones doing a podcast.
Maybe so.
No, just let us know. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna look into this movie more to see like what we might have missed.
Yeah, I want to see the reviews. There's some like guys that are watching YouTube sometimes to like see what they thought about movies that we've seen and
just see what we missed.
Yeah, to see what they say. But all right, well,
but I'm pretty sure I didn't. I'm pretty sure I fucking didn't.
No, I don't think so. If we all three are usually if us three agree, it's probably not very good.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. See you guys next week. We're out.
Trying to buy my next meal. Seems all I do is drive. And when the boss man sends my next check in the mail, I'll have enough for closing time. And I've been cussing like a sailor since I ran out of weed. My tank is